secrets we can pry out of them. And then naturally, we will build some spicy pick'ems. And I hear, John, there might even be actual spicy margs in the house tonight.
Don't tempt me with good time there, Pete.
Is that a affected Texas accent you're doing, or is that how you normally talk?
Out of there, Paul.
Okay, all right.
In Dallas this weekend.
All right, it's gonna be a long show, Nez. How am I supposed to deal with this?
How are we supposed to deal with this? I'm just glad that I get to go to the comfort of my own home after this. You're the one that's on babysitting duty, dude.
That's
babysitting. Are you kidding me? I'm gonna ship the main BR this week, and everybody's gonna be celebrating me on Dawg Bowl weekend.
You're gonna be smelling roses even away from your own home, buddy. That's all right.
Well, Nez, for people who aren't familiar with the Dawg Bowl, why don't you set the stage for them? Why are we here? What is this contest? What are we celebrating this weekend?
Yeah, we're celebrating our not 36 qualifiers, but our qualifiers here throughout the weeks 1 through 12. Made their way to the Dawg Bowl finals, and they are trying to play their way for $200,000. So we've got some live drafts coming tomorrow. It's super fun. Played it last year, and I still get chills thinking about it. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, so basically everyone who is here this weekend has qualified over the many weeks leading up to this. Tomorrow, there are going to be the final drafts, and then everyone's going to sweat it. We got a massive prize pool, $200,000 up top. Some of the sharpest drafters on all of Underdog competing here for the top prize. John, what's the lay of the land from your Canadian perspective over there?
This is unnecessary. Yeah, I mean, you said it, man. Like, these players are very familiar with one another because the vast majority of them, part of our community, part of your community, where they're red badge players on the platform. So it's going to be really interesting to see if the behavior patterns that we saw all season long mirror themselves in the Dawg Bowl, i.e. pushing quarterbacks, i.e. pushing tight ends, this kind of dynamic that we've grown accustomed to. Will that hold true in a field that has 108 total entries where some people hold 9, right? So I think there's going to be some very interesting dynamics and a lot more, meta to it than like a normal slate. Should we be overstacking because the field's so small? Mm-hmm. I don't know. I can speak to a person who has won a flea flicker this year, boys, which is, I don't know if you guys know the field size of a flea flicker, but it's 108, which would be the exact field size of the Dawg Bowl. And that was a Baker double. So I don't know. Should we be thinking about the double stack with the tight end mixed in? Where are you guys at?
Yeah, and I think if this sounds confusing to you, one of the huge distinctions, if you play the main BR, the $7 flagship contest, that's a 6-person contest. So 36 players are drafted. The Dawg Bowl qualifier, the goal line stand this week, the squib kick, those are 12-person drafts. And so it's a huge difference when 72 players get drafted compared to 36. So Nez, what are some of those strategic differences? Because again, it's like John was saying, 5,000 plus entries for the typical Dawg Bowl qualifier. They're not playing that same contest this weekend. It's a different contest.
Yeah, it's definitely the value of a replacement thing for me, like you guys alluded to, or like John alluded to, the pushing of quarterback, pushing of tight end. We have not everybody, but most people in this contest has done the research and has seen what has been effective in 12-person drafts. There are very clear patterns as far as what wins. And what has won consistently is pushing tight end, pushing quarterback. And now we have a smaller field tournament. You're going to need less points to win. You can deviate from that because you're not trying to beat thousands of people now. You're just trying to beat 108. Yeah. So last year, I was heavily focused on getting my quarterback early. I wanted the good projectable quarterback points. Didn't really amount to much. But I think this week, though, there are quarterbacks that stand out that I think will go earlier than we have seen go in typical 12-person drafts.
And I think we should start talking about this slate. We'll bounce around. We want a lot of the stuff we talk about to be applicable, whether you guys are going to hop in some drafts this weekend, the 6-person, the 12-person. But this slate, the conversation starts with Saquon Barkley. He is the 101 with a bullet, best running back in football, biggest team total on the slate, best matchup you can get for running backs. How big of an advantage is it to pull the 101 in your Dawg Bowl drafts or any of your drafts this week?
I mean, I don't want to say like it's everything, but you just laid out the land as like why it's a beautiful thing to pull the 1-on-1, right? I mean, can we hope for they blow the doors off early, a couple tush pushes, something of that magnitude that don't make him the top scoring player on the slate? Yes, of course, but pulling that 1-0-1 this week is hella sweet. I'm not going to lie.
And I think it's really interesting to think about, right? Because in my opinion, 3 different outcomes that can take place with this Eagles game.
Okay.
Saquon smashes, and if that's your thesis, that's your mindset, you don't even want the leverage off Saquon, right? You don't even want the A.J. Brown, the Jalen Hurts picks. You just want to forego that and try to find other nuclear spots on the slate. Or that game fails, you don't want any of them. Or the third option is he actually does not hit, that game total plays out to its game total, and it's Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown going nuclear. So it's not just, I don't have Saquon, let me play the other side of it and get his teammates. You could just be like, you know what, GG's, I'm waving the white flag on that game.
Yeah,
I'm going to find other spots to match that Saquon score.
Dude, you know what's one crazy part about that is if you roll like multiple entries, like some of these participants this week will be in 9 drafts. You know, one of our guests later today could be in 9 drafts. Another participant's going to be in 6 drafts. If you hypothetically rolled like the 101 multiple times, like would you hedge in any regard? Would you just go all in on this Saquon spot? Is that how good this Saquon spot is? Like,
yeah, and it's funny because you think about some of these previous slates we've had, you know, last week, it was kind of a choose your own adventure at 101. Like if you hopped in any of these drafts, you could see 4 or 5 different names go. This week, the projection gap, the spot, everything, you know, Barkley in the MVP conversation. I honestly think, and it's easier said than done, you know, from the cheap seats. I do think I would just slam it in on Barkley if I was, you know, fortunate enough to get the 101 in 6 drafts. I think I would just do it every time.
I'm excited to ask our guests about that to see what they would do. Because I mean, like when your feet's held to the flame, what would you actually do? But I think the spot is so good that you don't look a gift horse in the mouth.
Right. Yeah. I got to catch Pete slip in there though. The cheap seats. There is nothing cheap about this experience right now, man. This is Underdog Fantasy, bud. They're doing it up right, man. We got multiple houses adjacent to one another right now. Cheap seats, my ass. This is the best seat I sat in all week.
In America, we just have turns of phrases that kind of mean other things, John. That's all I was going for there. All right, let's talk about some of these other spots on the slate because, again, with a 12-person draft, this is the rub when you have the 101. Yes, you get Barkley, but you don't pick again until pick 24, right? And you look at the slate this week, you look at some of the players on the turn. You can get a Puka, a Mike Evans, a Bucky Irving, a Trey McBride. You might be able to get 2 of those guys. Whereas what's going to come back to the Barkley drafter, it can really start to fall off. And I think that's been a dynamic in the 12-person drafts all year is can you survive the talent fall off that will often happen after pick 14, 15 in these contests?
Yeah, I mean, I entirely hear you on that. If I have the 101 and I roll that Barkley share, I think my number one thing that I would follow it up with is punt quarterback, punt tight end, and double up on wide receivers as it comes back to me. Because from my perspective, the strength of the slate in the scrolls are at the onesies. You know, it's at the quarterback, it's at the tight end. And then I think that sweet spot middle tier of wide receiver is where you can make up the difference of missing on like the other side of the board combo of like Puka coupled with X, right? Like, you know, Puka coupled with McBride. It's a little iffy if you can obtain that, but like something of that magnitude. So I would be hammering double wide receivers, and then I'd be looking for my scrolly F down running back and then a skinny stack at the onesies.
Right.
Let's talk about some of our favorite spots here, just in general. Obviously, we've talked about the Eagles here. Really, nothing much more to say there. They're expected to score a ton of points. It's just where is it going to come from? What are some of your guys' kind of scroll down quarterbacks? You know, if we're getting down to quarterback 10, 11, 12, I mean, I'll kick it off. Will Levis is a guy that jumped out to me this week. John, what do you got for the people who are maybe waiting to take quarterback with their 6th round pick this week?
I mean, the people want me to say Geno here. You know, they want me to double down, triple down, quad down. They want me to play the hits out here. I don't think I can say it, man. Pass rate over expectation has been down over the last couple weeks there. They're not the team that we thought they were 5 weeks ago, something like that. So when I'm looking at like QB 13, I'd like to say Geno. I'm not going to. I really like doing that Jameis skinny. Something with Jameis there, even if it's Elijah Moore in the last round or second to last round, something like that. Now that we got the Tillman rule out, I kind of like that one. It's not a crazy scroll, but I don't know how gross people want to get, and I don't know if it's necessary in a 108 contest, like 108 entries. Right. But AOC feels kind of fun.
He does, man. I mean, you're preaching to the choir here. AOC, I've been doing a lot of goal line stands, trying to put myself in the mindset of a Dawg Bowl drafter, living vicariously through these folks. And AOC is my highest drafted quarterback.
Wow.
In
Nice.
these goal line stand contests. I think that he just consistently has outperformed his projection every time he steps on the field.
Yeah.
And I've seen enough, man. I've seen enough. The dude plays with moxie. He has good pass catchers that you could easily stack. Well, not easily stack, but I like to draft them. So in my opinion, easily stack because nobody's going to take AOC after you take these guys. Yeah. The game environment is really strong. One of the highest totals on the slate. I love AOC. AOC QB 15 on the slate. The drafted percentage of him is very low. I do think that we're going to see him go in at least 8 out of 9 of these drafts, but maybe that's maybe that's me just being a little too excited about my guy AOC. But I think we're going to see him go. I think the spot makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and it's interesting too. You look at the QB, the ADPs this week, and when we look at the ADPs, they are reflective of the 6-person draft, so not entirely reflective of what's going to happen. But it does give you an indication of the tiers. And obviously, Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts are going to go early, but I would not be surprised in these Dawg Bowl drafts. Tua is currently the QB3 by ADP. I wouldn't be surprised to see these guys push pretty far. As far as some will pull the trigger on Allen, they'll pull the trigger on Hurts, but everyone might just say, hey, I'm going to grab my running backs and wide receivers.
Especially the 201 because of the projections across the industry relative to ADP right now. I think Tua might be one that potentially slides all the way back to third round to be paired with Achane, which would be very interesting on the left-hand side of the board there. One last one at quarterback. It's not a scroll, but this is the cheapest we've ever seen Purdy doubles.
Yeah.
I don't know. Can we run it back? Can we double, triple, quad down on Purdy doubles being something this week?
Yeah, I've been into it. I think a lot of the woes for the Niners have been correlated to Purdy's injury more than anything else. Obviously, Guerendo.
Williams as well.
Right. Yeah. And now we get Purdy back practicing in full. I know everyone is out on Debo at this point. People seem to have, some enthusiasm for what Jawan Jennings has done. Everyone likes Kittle. I'm kind of with you, man. At home, they have a 24-point team total. It's not a bad spot. We just saw Chicago playing a pretty fun game on Thanksgiving against a similarly high-powered team. Like, this game has sneaky shootout appeal to me.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I've been a Caleb Bowl, Bears Bowl, just all, no pun intended there, all season long. And no, I'm with you. I think this game can go nuts. And I think, with the Debo ADP as well, and the ability for him to take carries out of that backfield, and they have just Guerendo and Patrick Taylor back there, you can be looking at 4 carries for Debo this week. True.
Yeah. The other kind of spots that I think are interesting to discuss is tight end, right? Which is kind of similar to quarterback, right? Where you have Brock and Trey McBride, and then Jonnu kind of parallels with Tua as the QB3, as the tight end 3. I think Kittle's probably a stronger QB4 or tight end 4 than a QB4, but this is another dynamic where people might grab their 2 top tight ends, maybe the 3, and then just say, hey, I'm content to wait. I'd rather not take on the fragility of a tight end with my 3rd or 4th round.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, especially down here with these tight ends, I'm famous for loving just every tight end on the slate. But let me just put my hat in the ring here. Juwan Johnson this week, I just think is just in a fantastic spot for the Saints. You have just MBS as a pass catcher and our boy Kevin Austin for the Saints lining out wide. No Taysom Hill. I mean, he's live to lead the team in targets this week. And he's tight end 13 at the moment. I mean, he's one of my favorite tight ends to bank on late in drafts.
Yeah, and this is, again, we're kind of bouncing around, mainly talking about the Dawg Bowl stuff right now. But, someone like Juwan Johnson, he could be, the tight end 11, 12. He'll probably go in most of these drafts. But then if you're hopping in a BR this week, no one's taking Juwan Johnson. He's going to be sub 10%, sub 5%. drafted. So definitely know what contest you're playing in. But I don't think the opportunity cost at tight end is big this year. I think you could scroll to Juwan, and is he really going to sacrifice that much compared to, say, Cade Otton and Evan Ingram as the tight end 7 and 8? I don't think so.
No, I am.
What other games are you guys interested in? Like, because that's always the kind of the conversation at this point in the season, we kind of know the usage guys, what we're going to get, but what is the game you think that could pop off, that gives us the back and forth that, say, like the Browns and the Broncos gave us on Monday night, where it's just like, oh man, I wish I had 4 pieces from that game.
I mean, Brown Steelers, low key, up tempo, both teams playing faster than they have in the past. Jameis being Jameis, like that feels like one that could be that spot. The uglier version of that would be Jags Titans. Yeah. It's much uglier, let's say, but not enough people are getting to it. And I think, Brian Thomas, ADP stands out to me, especially in the 12-person drafts, as someone that you should be getting to. So those 2 spots, yeah, that's for me.
I think for me right now, I'm trying to buy the dip on the Falcons. We just saw one of the worst performances Kirk Cousins has put up all season since week 1.
So
and
bad.
Everybody is, shouting from the rooftops that Kirk Cousins is cooked. And I can't necessarily give them evidence that says otherwise, right? I think that did not look good, what we saw. Yeah. However, I feel very confident in the Vikings' ability to put up points. Now, can the Falcons go blow for blow with the Vikings? I think they have the weapons to do that, and we know where the production is going. And honestly, I think we can cross out Kyle Pitts at this point. The usage for Kyle Pitts, I know, guys, I'm sorry. I know we're here doing spicy margs together. Pour one out for our guy Kyle Pitts. It's done. It's done. And so what that does for us is we can say, if this game is shooting out, I don't want to take Kyle Pitts. We can do a scroll down with Darnell Mooney. He's a last-round pick in Dawg Bowls. Mm-hmm. Drake London, what did he have, 1 million targets last week, roughly? Yeah. And then Bijan Robinson's role has only gotten stronger as the year goes on. I think we can say confidently the Vikings are scoring points. They have a very strong defense, but if the Falcons can go blow for blow, this game is going to go nuts.
I'm with you, too, and it's like I look at the alpha wide receivers, Justin Jefferson, Drake London, and it's like, the targets have kind of been there, but we just haven't had the explosion spot for either of them. You look at the game logs for Drake London, it's like, just not getting in the end zone, just not getting the big yardage play. Obviously, the same for Jefferson. This game does feel a little powder keg-ish to me, where it could pop off in a pretty fun way.
Yeah, I'm going to fight you guys on that one.
No, I thought we were about to fight about it.
A little revenge. I know. I saddled up. I put the hat back on, and I got real for a minute there. Them fighting words when it came to Kyle Pitts. But no. I respect it. I respect it. The other one that we throw out when I was talking about the Purdy doubles is we've already got no Roschon Johnson on the Bears side, right? Yep. We got Swift with the Q tag here. We have a Q tag that's kind of a Q tag, but not really a Q tag on DJ Moore. We know Keenan Allen's going to play, but if the Bears become densely concentrated and not reliant upon the running backs, this could go back and forth via the air there. We don't know how much workload the other side wants to give Isaac Guerendo. What if this just low key becomes the late night hammer, late afternoon hammer, back and forth kind of thing?
Yeah. Well, I think we should let's hit on a few of the running backs, because you mentioned this might be the theme of the week, these backup running backs. Yeah. Obviously, everyone knows about Guerendo taking over with Jordan Mason and CMC on IR. We have Bryce Hall, who doesn't look like he's going to play. So we have Braylon Allen stepping into a big role. And we might not get Kenneth Walker either. We could get Zach Charbonnet. So this really is interesting from a draft perspective, right? Because a lot of these guys outside of Guerendo don't have established ADPs. The market really hasn't had a chance to form on where they should go. How are you guys, assuming we get Braylon Allen and Charbonnet as starters, what are you guys doing with them in drafts? How high could they go?
Well, I'll ask you guys, out of those 3 names that Pete just said there, Nez, which would you take first?
I think Guerendo pretty clearly.
Okay.
Even with, let's just, for sake of argument, say we get Ken Walker out.
Yeah.
We get, and I think Bryce Hall is pretty safe to sit out. I still think I like Guerendo the best out of those guys. Okay. And, you asked me 5 weeks ago, I'm going to say Braylon Allen, what are you talking about? But see Isaiah Davis come along and, really take a lot of usage in that backfield. I do just wonder what the touch ceiling is for Braylon Allen, despite him being just a grown-ass man. Can the touch ceiling be there? Can the Jets actually be competitive? Because they haven't even been a good football team. Whereas with Guerendo, the spot is pristine. You run on the Bears. That's the only thing you really do.
It's true.
We have been in love with Guerendo since the draft. The ceiling is the roof right now for Guerendo.
Yeah, size, speed. Oh.
No, yeah. I think I agree for sure on Guerendo over Braylon. There is something about Charbonnet where the role is almost Kenneth Walker plus when he's out, where it's like, yeah, you're going to get that rushing work, but also all of the receiving work. I think that one could be close in that there's also just a little bit more ambiguity with Guerendo taking over, where we've seen this team be like, all right, Kenneth Walker's out. It's the Charbonnet show. Yep. So maybe it's Guerendo higher ceiling, Charbonnet, I think definitely a higher floor in that spot.
Yeah, and like the game means so much, right? Like they're playing for the division. Like I don't know, maybe you could spin zone that to be a bad thing, to be honest. But like I'm just thinking back to the one isolated week that we got the full-fledged Charbonnet role there.
Right.
95% of snaps, 7 targets, like all this crazy shit, right? Like it's just run that back.
I definitely get it. It's just for whatever reason I can't get out of my head the way that these Seahawks have been playing lately. And they've been playing like such slow, sluggish games.
True.
I just can't get that out of my head. Whereas I see Bears, I see Niners, I see the matchup, and I see Guerendo being fast and big. And honestly, I'm just a very simple boy.
Yeah, fast, big, go Burr. You know,
That's simple.
Yeah, and I mean, Guerendo's stat lines would look so much better if he didn't slide down instead of scoring those touchdowns in the past too. Those long runs that he's broken off to ice games. The Thursday night football game comes to mind in Seattle there, and he breaks one off to effectively end the ball game on the right-hand side of the field there, goes like 60-plus yards and slides down. You know, those box score chasers would be pushing him up a little bit more when they see that 20 ball in the stats instead of a 10.
We are going to hop in a draft in a second, but I do want to hit just on a few maybe sleeper wide receivers. I feel like we've hit on some of our favorite quarterbacks, tight ends, running backs here. I do think, you know, one of the key distinctions you'll see in the 12-person drafts relative to the 6 is the third wide receiver being way more viable. Obviously on Underdog, you got that flex. You can go 2 running backs or you can go 3 wide receivers. In the battle royales this year, I mean, you were swimming upstream if you're trying to do 3 wide receiver. It's just been a 2 running back heavy year. But when 72 players are drafted, when we look at the late round running backs versus the late round wide receivers, it's a lot easier to tell yourself a story about Jalen Waddle, about Darnell Mooney going off relative to like Cam Akers and some of these guys way down there. So what do you guys think about some of these, the viability of the scroll down wide receivers?
Man, Pete, reset our brains to like 3 months ago and imagine mentioning Jalen Waddle alongside Darnell Mooney as scroll the F down in week 14.
I'd rather not.
There, right?
Yeah.
Like you could throw Amari Cooper into that same fold. Like Amari Cooper's going beside MVS. Like who sees this stuff coming, right? I threw out the Brian Thomas one earlier. I like the Jag stuff. I thought Mac Jones played really well last week. I'm kind of digging that game environment in some regard. That was the big one that stood out for me.
I think just to kind of bring it back to the meta of drafting as far as pushing QB and pushing tight end, a lot of that's because of the late round flex position players just looking very bad. And I don't want to have to be choosing between Roma Dunze and Wan'Dale Robinson at that point. I would rather call it a day at, the Darnell Mooney line or maybe Elijah Moore. So those guys, I think, just in particular that I named, I'm pretty excited about. Like I mentioned earlier, I think that Falcons-Vikings game can play up-tempo, can play aggressive on the Falcons side of things. And then Elijah Moore, man, like you mentioned, no Cedric Tillman here. I think this game goes over his total. It's only 43.5.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times is Jameis going to have to show it to these people that he's the truth?
Yeah.
And this game looks super exciting. Elijah Moore buried an ADP. Feels good.
Hey, Nez, can you remind me who the only 2 quarterbacks in the history of football to throw for 450 and 3+ times in their career are?
I mean, I know one's Jameis Winston.
And the other one is Peyton Manning. That guy's pretty good, huh?
Yeah, there you go. And you know what? That just made me think we should get Jameis Winston Monday Night Football companion streams because I would watch him do it. Forget the Manning cast. I want the Winston cast.
Yeah.
All right. Any other? We're gonna hop in a draft here in a second. Any other kind of overview thoughts for you guys on this slate? Things that are considered, because I think one of the other things that is interesting to talk about is stacking in these contests.
Yeah.
And in the 12-person contest, it opens it up a lot more. And some of these names might seem a little thin, but if you're drafting Drake London and you end up going to Kirk Cousins, then all of a sudden a Darnell Mooney starts to look more attractive. So what do you guys think about that idea of just saying, hey, I like this spot for an offense. I might not love the projection, but I might just lean into it and say, can I capture all of the points via this stack?
I like it in the small field stuff. I like it in the Dawg Bowl, especially with multiple entries. You know, the fact that you have 3 bullets this year, each participant has 3 bullets instead of just the one isolated one. If you wanted to run 3 separate double stacks and kind of hedge in that magnitude and encapsulate one side of a ball game, I'd be that's probably what my mindset coming into this contest would be. I would err on including the tight end primarily, though. Like, I think that's the easiest way to boost is the correlation between the onesies positions, because we know tight end outside of the upper echelons, the Trey McBrides, the Brock Bowers, that tier is so flat and we're just touchdown hunting anyways. So why not try and, instead of finding 6 points, find 10 tethered with my quarterback, right?
Yeah, no, very well said. I think I would just throw my hat in the ring for a little RB pass catcher correlation, something that we've seen catch a lot of popularity in this season. I think that makes a lot of sense here. Just capture that game environment, capture the points. We don't need to be perfect on a 108-person contest.
Sure.
Getting that running back also involved in the game, I think makes a lot of sense. And I'll just let me throw out a little Vikings there.
Oh, that's a fun one.
Yeah.
I was gonna say the Tua Achan one sounds good to me there in the first and the third. And then if you're on the right-hand side of the board, doing Josh Allen and James Cook feels all right too.
I also do like it too, and not to nag the James Cook one, but when you're able to do it even cheaper with the other one, you know, it's like the Aaron Jones a little late. The other one I toss out would be Kyler, James Conner.
Yeah.
Like, if you were to fade McBride, which I know sounds scary, but you do the Kyler, James Conner, and Marvin Harrison late, it's like you could still probably get 1 or 2 studs at the top of your draft and then get all the benefits of the correlation on hitting on a spot.
Yeah, Pete, I don't know how scary it is to fade a dude who's literally never scored a touchdown before. So I think we might be all right.
There was that one time he fell on the ball.
Oh, true, right.
Yeah.
Oh, and that inside handoff too. Yes, right. Yes.
Exactly. All right. This is what we're going to do. We've been talking a lot about the 12-person draft strategy, so I'm going to hop us in a goal line stand right now.
3 more spots.
3 more spots if you guys want to hop in with us. This is a 12-person draft. It's awesome because this week, the goal line stand has a $20,000 first place prize, $15 entry. All of the Dawg Bowl guys have been in here this week getting their reps. I mean, this is just getting batting practice for the Dawg Bowl.
Absolutely. That's exactly what I've been doing. I mean, we talked about it on our Wednesday preview show there. Nez and I were like, man, if we were in the Dawg Bowl this week, I'd be 150ing this as early as I could.
Yeah.
You know, just get your reps in, get really comfortable so nothing surprises you at any point of the draft. You've seen it all once you get your reps up, right?
Yeah, and I mean, we talked too about how, I mean, at least me personally, and you guys obviously agree that like the 12-person drafts are just so much fun. I love the strategy that gets involved with the 12-person drafts as opposed to the 6-person. It's all fun, but the 12-person really is, you know, you get the hardos in there. I love the competition of that side of things, and the fact that we have 100K prize pool for a goal line stand, the biggest goal line stand that I think that we've ever seen, is phenomenal. So let's show up and show out for that.
I think we're going to get the draft board up here on the screen for you guys in a second. We drew the 111 here. And, so this is the exact same format that they're going to be drafting in the Dawg Bowl. It's just the big difference is the size of the contest, right? So the Dawg Bowl, what is it? Do we say 108?
Yeah.
108 entrants. This has 7,500 entrants. So this is more equivalent to a Dawg Bowl qualifier. This is the kind of contest that you would have to win or finish top 3 to punch your ticket here. So we got this interesting spot that we were kind of talking about, guys, as far as the 111. We're going to like, you know, some of the players we get here, and we'll see how can we combat the Barkley teams.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm looking at this lobby, man. These guys are truly sick right now. They're in Dallas on Underdog's dime. They could be enjoying the nightlife. They could be having a great time. And I'm looking out here, how many Dawg Bowl participants in the lobby? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe honorary Pete. Johnny Football's honorary. There we go.
And we have a 2023 Dawg Bowl participant at the 101 there. Shout out Josh. He was a participant last year.
So was Joka as well.
Yeah.
Joka had the stones to do the Desmond Ridder stack last year with Drake London.
I know I should have listened to you guys.
There you go. So let's talk this out a little bit, guys. Here from the 111, 112. I have a hard time imagining that we're going to do a quarterback. Tight end could be a conversation. What are you guys eyeing here?
I'm definitely looking at running back. I mean, running back at the third pick, at the third round for us, or 3-4 turn rather. That's rough. That's not a spot that you want to be taking a running back, especially. I mean, I'd like to put myself in the shoes of a Dawg Bowl participant here.
Yeah.
Running backs are going to go really early in the Dawg Bowl. I feel very confident about that, especially because of how thin running back is and how uncertain some of these spots are. So I'd like to take a running back to start, and then we can go from there.
And ADP is kind of a fugazi, wazi woozy with running back right now, because we know that those Q tags aren't going to get drafted by the sharp players in the Dawg Bowl, right? They're going to know not to take Breece Hall. They're going to know not to take Ken Walker, which is going to push up some of those back-end guys that we would consider scrolls in other lobbies, right?
All right. Can I interest you, though, in A.J. Brown at pick 11 first, Des?
I think I can make the 2-pick sacrifice for AJ Brown. Yeah, I think I should have articulated better. At the 1-2 turn, I would like a running back. I will take AJ Brown. Thank you.
What do you guys? I don't think we're going to see A.J. Brown at pick 11 in any Dawg Bowls this week.
No, I don't think everybody's going to have that capitulation idea that I threw out there.
Yeah. But we now are back up, and I am fine with a running back here. It does look like it would be Bucky or Kyron, maybe Guerendo if you're feeling spicy.
Are we worried about Bucky at all? Wrapped up last week, didn't finish overtime, LP, DNP. Like, are we worried at all?
I'm a little, honestly, just a little.
Then
I like the
I'd
game.
pivot and take McBride. Who do you like then?
I like Bucky. You guys can do Trey if you want to stay true to the brand.
No, Nez pounded the table for a running back. Let's get our running back here.
I don't think you should be scared of Bucky, man. We saw before last week, we had all of the signs that said Bucky is going to be unleashed, and Bucky is good, and Bucky has the role that you want from a fantasy perspective. Now he's in one of the best spots of the week. I mean, just take Bucky and print.
All right, I respect it. What do you guys think the AJ Brown fall in this room? I know his projection relative to his ADP right now kind of mirrors what we have seen right here. Do you think some of that, like as Pete likes to say, dovetails from the fact that we're going to get Devonta Smith back this week?
I didn't know I had ownership of the word dovetails.
Dude, you like that word.
Well, I honestly think the Hurts and AJ Brown stuff, both individually and then in the main BRs, in tandem, is really interesting because you ask yourself, how do I compete with Barkley in this team total? And you're saying, hey, what if the tush push is in full effect? What if it's an AJ Brown game? No one is going to question AJ Brown's ability to pop off for 150 and 2 touchdowns. Like, no one questions that. If it's that game, that's how you beat those drafters. Not only do you beat them, you wipe those teams out.
That's what I'm saying, right? Because it's like, if that is your thesis, then like it doesn't even matter. You're not even thinking about Saquon Barkley. You're just thinking about AJ Brown and an isolated result. You know what I mean? Like, you don't even care about Saquon Barkley drafters at that point because you have the highest scoring wide receiver on the slate. It doesn't matter that you are vastly outscoring one team. You know what I mean? Or in this case, 9 teams, because there will be 9 Saquon Barkley teams in the Dawg Bowl. I think it's really interesting to think about it. Like, you are getting the leverage, but it's at that point, the real bet is AJ Brown crushes more than anything.
Yeah, no, that's a fair point, Des. Yeah, I think that's well articulated.
I just want to mention here too, we're going to have all kinds of content over the weekend over on the Underdog channel. Josh Norris is going to be hosting multiple shows. We're going to have Josh on here in a second when we're done with this draft. We're going to do another stream on Sunday right before lock, reviewing the Dawg Bowl lineups. There's going to be opportunities for you guys to sweat those teams, and obviously as the draft results come in. So you guys can stay tuned here on the Badge Bros channel, on the Underdog channel. We'll keep you guys covered all weekend.
Very professional, Pete.
Thank you. Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I get to sit on the non-cheap seats.
Well done.
Ooh, best ball Viper. Sorry,
yes.
I just had a comment.
So
there.
Sam Darnold to Justin Jefferson. This is another interesting dynamic, right? When you're in your draft for all the money and you have Jefferson, you clearly like this spot, you like this game. Do you sit and you wait on your quarterback? Do you try to squeeze in another skill position player? Or do you just say, screw it? No, I do not want to go to battle without it. I'm just going to pull the trigger now.
I think I am very much paying attention to who's in my room. Love Best Ball Viper. Strong supporter of the show. A great friend. He's a wild card.
He is a wild card.
And if he's in my draft, I am making sure that my stack, maybe putting a little extra emphasis on my stack and making sure that that thing is secured.
Yeah, he's a go get your guys kind of guy. So, yeah, I do think it is important to be mindful of who's in your room. We got a couple of the ETR bros in the contest this weekend there. Maybe taking a peek at those rankings and then mirroring their behavior patterns in the lobbies here. I think it's a good shout, Nez.
All right, we are about to be on the clock at 3:11. We started Bucky Irving and A.J. Brown. I did tab off quarterback here. I think we could talk a little bit about Baker if we wanted to build something out with Tampa, or do you guys want to grab a running back or wide receiver here?
I mean, I'm leaving the light on for AOC on this team as a sweet bring back off of that Bucky Irving stuff. So
what about Braylon or Charbs? Do you want to take a stab on Charbs, or is that?
I like Charbs.
Is he gone? Oh, hang on.
Oh, we're screwed.
All right. We took Neighbors here.
Not a bad auto.
Because we couldn't find Sharps. Sharps was we can still do Sharps though.
I was going to suggest one of those running backs.
Oh, Sharps goes here. That's what happens when you let's see. Who do you want to do, Nez?
Is Braylon still there?
Yeah, let's do Braylon.
Yeah. I think one of these guys is still undervalued. Maybe this will reflect dog bowls. I don't think these guys are going to go
that late
this far in dog bowls, but I mean it's good. We're still trying to win money in this specific draft, so not a bad pick.
Okay,
I think you're right. Like when you look at these, I think Pollard and Aaron Jones are such strong picks.
They are.
I think that Allen and Sharps will fall between them. Like they'll go before Najee, they'll go before Tracy.
Guys, I got to ask the question. I'm the guy. We're the guys here. What is the power of the scroll, of the unique one-off piece, of the unique quarterback stack? What is the power of the scroll in a small field contest?
In 12-person small field, I mean, it's tough, right? Your options are very few and far between. They lie in the onesies.
Right.
It's really hard to get a good scroll at the flex position. You really got to have some strong convictions. You really have to have a strong read on the slate, but these onesies positions, you can get leverage. And I think one of the strongest ways to do that too is if you have 6 tickets, or 6 drafts rather. You have 9 drafts. You can have an idea of, okay, who are the Saquon drafters pairing Saquon with?
Right.
And then if you happen to roll your own Saquon, you have an idea of who to get leverage on.
Cool. Yeah, the one I was thinking through with this lineup specifically is the fact that we have Neighbors. And for Neighbors to pop, the 1-0-1 thing that's going to have to come with it is Drew Lock, right? First of all, Neighbors has to play, right? I'm not sure how we feel about the Neighbors Q tag right now. I don't feel great about it either, right? So I'm just saying, is there any leverage in being the Neighbors plus Drew Lock guy? Because nobody else is going to take Drew Lock in this contest. And the thesis with Neighbors popping and Neighbors even playing is the fact that Drew Lock goes with it.
John, it wouldn't be an off and on the clock show without you suggesting drafting Drew Lock.
Oh, Drew Lock.
On the show.
Like you thought it was like, hey, the crowd didn't ooh and ah when I say AOC. What do I have to do to get them riled up? Hold my beer.
Hold my beer to AOC.
Yeah. It will be interesting. Obviously, we'll get some more news by the time these drafts take place tomorrow, but we still might have some interesting Q tag spots. It'll be interesting to see hey, do people think the risk reward is worth it? Like if you get a 5th round Kenneth Walker, or maybe Malik Neighbors starts falling even more, is the opportunity cost that big to just say, I'll take my swap to Nick Westbrook-Akide if Neighbors doesn't play, if he's fallen that much,
Good luck getting a swap to the best touchdown scorer in football.
Yeah, the power of the swap in Dawg Bowl is pretty interesting.
Right.
The Ken Walker pick is almost like risk-free in these contests, because if he does play, you should expect over 50% of snaps for Ken Walker.
Yeah.
Right. And he's going to be at a discount. And if he doesn't play, then you have the ability to swap to somebody at full strength. I mean, it's pretty interesting. And it makes you wonder if Ken Walker goes earlier in these drafts than he would in normal drafts. I think it'll be about the same, but he's such a conundrum on this slate. And, you know, I kind of lean towards Sharps, like you guys were saying, but Ken Walker has, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, had some DNP weeks where he's then go out and played.
Yeah.
And you can see here on this draft board, it's kind of the dynamic we were expecting. You know, in the 3rd and 4th round, we saw 2 total quarterbacks and 1 tight end go. So there is definitely this element of you either get one of the elite guys, you get one of these top tight ends. We saw the 2nd round here, Trey McBride, Jonnu Smith, George Kittle, David Njoku, Brock Bowers went in round 1. And then everyone just saying, hey, I'm content to wait here. And you talked about Best Ball Viper being a wild card. He's the only one that pulled the trigger on the quarterback and tight end. I wouldn't be surprised to have seen those guys even fall out of the 4th round if Viper wasn't doing his vibes there.
Guys, how are we going to land this plane here?
Not with Drew Lock.
I'm looking at this and I'm like, there's nothing that's jumping off the page as like obvious correlation here. Which kind of introduces another fun conversation as to how comfortable are you with naked quarterback so that you aren't the person doing the Best Ball Viper in this isolated draft here by pushing up Sam Darnold like that. How comfortable would you be to just run, Justin Jefferson naked and then have like quarterback 10 on your roster instead of Sam Darnold in the 3rd round?
So I still will, my tendency is to gravitate to some correlation here. Like one I was looking at was like Russell Wilson and Pat Freiermuth potentially as a stack. I don't mind the AOC thing opposite of Bucky and just running AOC naked.
How about this one, Pete?
Yeah.
Evan Ingram, Mac Jones.
I think I prefer the Russ Wilson Freiermuth of that 2v2.
All right, fine.
Yeah, if that's available, I would take that.
Yeah, let's do that. So we can do Freiermuth first because Johnny already has his quarterback here.
How about Juwan Johnson, Derek Carr?
Well, that starts to get into the interesting thing of the real 2v2 would be like AOC and Juwan Johnson. I think I prefer Juwan slightly to Freiermuth and saying, what do you like better? The AOC, Juwan, or the correlated quarterback to tight end stack? That's really kind of the decision.
Right, yeah.
It just like our DFS brains, I think, lend us toward that Russ Freiermuth stack. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I think Russ is going to project better than AOC on top of that. So I think that kind of takes the tie break for me. But I mean, I would be fine with running AOC naked just because I just don't think you're going to see a lot of AOC. At least let's start from the perspective of the goal line stand. I don't think AOC is going every time. So you can still take AOC without a stack partner and honestly be fine.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so funny. I'm having flashbacks to the Dawg Bowl last year, and it was when Burrow was out, and one of our drafters, Baby
Radfad.
Or was it
Radfad?
Yeah, Radfad did Jake Browning double stack.
Yeah.
Was it the premium with Higgins and Chase?
It was Higgins and the tight end. Tanner Hudson. Yeah. It was preseason darling Tanner Hudson. And he was a toe tap touchdown that got called back of T. Higgins away from like having a big time cash on that one because he was sitting in the back right corner with his wife watching the game ISO cam. Everybody else is watching red zone. He's going full ISO cam back corner by the hors d'oeuvres, right by the kitchen to make sure they were getting the appies on the way out.
And I think that's one of the fun things about these Dawg Bowl drafts because it's so much easier to say draft your Jake Browning, your AOC from the couch. I don't want to say the cheap seats because I'll get canceled for that.
Better than couch.
But yeah, it is really hard when you're on the clock. But I do think, and I think that's what's going to be fun about this with everyone having 3 drafts, that maybe it loosens people up just a little bit more. Let me get my gut. Let me do a little shot taking here. I don't have to put all my eggs in one basket. I can have a little fun. Maybe we get some more off the board picks this week.
Well, we got 2 interviews coming up with participants who were there last year and now are back with multiple seats this year. And I think that'd be a really good question to ask them.
All right. And but first up, before we talk to our Dawg Bowl finalists, we got to get the
Not the Dawg Bowl finalist
of Underdog. Not with his usual.
Not anymore.
co-pilot.
No, I've been replaced by Bryson and Maxie.
Yeah. You used to just have to compete with Jack Settlement on the commercials, and now you have to compete with
Jack wore my T-shirt for his commercial. Let it be known that the same T-shirt
Jersey
was
swap.
worn for the first 3 or 4
Game
commercials of
recognized.
Underdog, the
Yeah.
same black T-shirt.
Well, everyone knows Josh. Excited to have you with us here. What's the lay of the land for Week 14? What are the big storylines?
I mean, the only reason I'm sitting on this couch right now is to know who the biggest beneficiaries are going to be Scroll Down. That's the only reason I'm here. I was even scrolling down to what 72 selections are going to be in each draft, right? And I believe that is around like the Kyle Pitts, DeAndre Swift territory. It gets real thin, real quick.
It does.
So it gets really dicey.
And that's why I think we see these drafters over and over in these 12-person. They all just say, we'll punt quarterback, we'll punt tight end. Because it's like, you know what? Yeah, does AOC feel great? Maybe not, like when you compare him to Josh Allen. But you know he's going to be out there for 4 quarters, slinging the ball. You can't say that about the running backs and wide receivers who go that late.
You can't say that about Parker Washington down there, B.
I already have a pickup with Parker
MVS is down there right now.
Yeah.
You want a slate breaker down there?
Yeah. Man, that's how you know you're sick. Like if you can roll up to the Dawg Bowl and be like, look, I know MBS only gets 3 targets a game.
David Moore, anyone?
Yeah, exactly. What spots do you like? Do you have any sleepers though?
I mean, I really think the biggest thing is who's filling in for these injured running backs.
Yep.
The Guerendos, the Charbonnets you guys talked about, the Braylon Allen. If you somehow to me, if I had 3 entries, which everyone does, but if I had more than that, like trying to get one of each on a team, I think that would be something that I'd be striving for. I mean, I can personally rank them, but then I have a difficult time trying to figure out, is this a talent-based evaluation? Is it a projection-based evaluation? I think I'm on the side where Charbonnet ranks number 1 on that list. At the same time with Isaac Guerendo, to me, when I watch him, I can point in the obvious flaws of his game, but at the exact same time, he can have one massive run that just shuts me up.
Mm-hmm.
If they create one alley on the left side that he sprints down the field, runs a 60-yard touchdown, anything that you said for the first 13 carries does not matter. It literally doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And he has that ability. So
It's so funny you say that, because that's how I felt. And I know this is a spot near and dear to your heart, is like when I watch James Cook and I'm watching him in that slow game, and I'm like watching
DeAndre Swift is the same way.
Yeah, I'm watching Ty Johnson get carries. I'm like, what is going on? He's not even playing enough. And then it's just like 50-yard run. It's like, okay, I don't care anymore. Like I'll take it.
I think the story for me is, Josh, I'd like to put myself in the Bryce Young fan club.
Oh, here we go.
Alongside you.
This is why I'm here.
I've been an apologist, and now I don't have to apologize anymore because the dude's balling. Super tough test this week.
I mean, impossible.
You find it impossible?
I really do. Now I say that with the hopes that it's not impossible, and he surprises everyone. This is when you lower expectations. And then if he plays well, like if he did the same thing he did against the Denver Broncos, to me, that would be a big win. 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, some his fault, some not.
Yeah.
I think the issue with this team, and it popped up this week, is they're the lowest yards after catch per reception team in the league. And that was with Andy Dalton. That is with Bryce Young. So he basically has to be perfectly accurate for these drives to sustain. And even that, we're seeing drops by David Moore. We're seeing them by Adam Thielen. We're seeing them by Xavier Legette. But I just think the Eagles are too good on both sides of the ball right now, that it's a really difficult task.
Under promise and over deliver.
That's what we're doing, though. I just want to play decent, if anyone picks that up. Just decent this week.
There's one thing that came into play there that we haven't talked about yet that Josh kind of almost inadvertently hit on there, and it's the combination of 2 of those Q-tag running backs.
Yeah.
And in the way I would think about this, maybe there's a little bit of leverage to going last in the Dawg Bowl, but what are we going to think about in terms of combinations and being cognizant? Because everyone's privy to every board this year. It's different than before, right? People are going to be watching alongside as it's happening. How do we feel about taking on some of that, I don't know, scared money, I'm not scared money, by putting 2 Q tags together, putting 2 backups together, putting 2 players together that nobody else has tethered together?
That's kind of what I'm hoping with the extra bullets, right? That people are
Yeah.
more willing to lean into those spots. Whereas if you only have one draft, it's like, it's the whole reason Q-tag players drop,
Yeah.
in every draft, right? Because it's like, it could go really wrong. But when you have that multiple bullets, you're like, you know what? I am going to take Bucky Irving 3 picks past ADP because if he plays, he can drop 20 points and help me win this thing. So I think the 3 entry thing is going to make these boards way more interesting this year.
Yeah, love that wrinkle.
Great addition.
The Josh, any of the other trying to find some sleepers, some of these quarterbacks that you like, because that's the other thing.
Okay.
If people are waiting on it, we mentioned AOC. Any other love for some of these other sleepers?
I mean, I'm not going to go that far down
we'll keep that too.
the AOC category, but I
You
mean,
want to go to Drew Lock?
From the Bryce Young guy.
what 12 have to be selected?
That's right. Yeah.
The quarterback 10 and Caleb Williams, to me, like
Yeah.
we're talking about also banged up running backs, right? If Travis Homer is the guy who's being sent out there, we're already seeing Thomas Brown call way more passing attempts with his quarterback. And we're seeing, even someone like DJ Moore in his first 2 weeks with like a 0.8 and a 3.2 ADOT, then get 10 yards down the field. Keenan Allen working down the field too.
Mm-hmm.
To me, if Swift, and we know that Roshan's out, if those guys miss, we could see, other than the overtime performance, I think it was week 2, Caleb had like 42 passing attempts. I think we could get around that territory as well. And, the San Francisco team probably not going to have Nick Bosa. He's doubtful. Already don't have Trent Williams on the offensive side. It might be time to pack up shop in San Francisco 49er land. And I think Caleb could continue with like a lot of production this week.
That's a good shout because we've seen Caleb win a couple Dawg Bowl seats this season as a naked scroll the F down quarterback.
And some rushing on top of it. Like,
Right.
he's going to get 35, 40 yards.
He had the 74-yard rushing game like 3 weeks ago or whatever it was. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting too because I think if Caleb had just a slightly better matchup on paper, I think people would be all over this team after what we saw on Thanksgiving. It's like something about the Niners is still holding people back, and I'm like, I don't even know if it's that bad of a matchup.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I felt the same way about the Eagles last year, where like people they weren't comfortable enough attacking the Eagles because they were the Eagles and they were a great spot
Name
to
brand.
attack.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's 100% where we're at with the Niners and the Bears here.
And you look at the ADPs, people are still into DJ Moore, but then everything else, like Robe is completely free if you've got the stomach for that. Caleb,
I do not.
Komet is very cheap. So yeah, I think, and the nice thing about that too is we talk about, the whole thing about correlation, like having to get less things right. Caleb is probably bringing along 2 pass catchers like he did on Thanksgiving.
Right.
If he hits, and it's like, that's really nice to know. You can literally get one thing right and only have to get 3 other spots right in your Dawg Bowl lineup.
Okay, here's my other hot take. We talked about Isaac Guerendo a little bit earlier too. What happens when Kyle Shanahan doesn't feel great about his starting running back, right? We've seen in the past when CMC goes down and it was like Elijah Mitchell and who the hell else out there. I think he felt good enough with Jordan Mason, as we saw for an extended period of time this year. Now that he's out, I bet we see at least 6 carries from Deebo Samuel this week.
Let's go.
At least 6 carries from
Have
Deebo
you seen
Samuel
his
this week.
ADP?
It's what
Beneath the earth.
Yeah, it's wide receiver. It's one spot ahead of Keenan Allen. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Jerry Judy's going like 10 spots ahead of
And
Deebo Samuel.
I wouldn't be surprised if some of those carries are inside the 5-yard line, inside the 10-yard line. So Deebo rushing stuff, I think, is on my radar this weekend.
Love it.
Yeah, that's good. I think we might have to incorporate that into the old
Yeah.
spicy Marg.
I will say, like, I love it. I'm into Deebo this week, and then it's like you watch Jaden
he
Reed
can't move.
on Thursday night, where they just like don't use these guys.
No.
It's like, why are you not using your playmakers here? But any other predictions, Josh? Who do you think is going to be in the winning lineup
This is
for
always
the
fun.
Dawg Bowl?
That's a fun one.
Could be any position.
You know what?
Yeah,
I
1
think
point.
my big question is, I don't know if there's, other than, Saquon at the top, I don't know if there's a bigger edge at one singular position than Bowers and McBride.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good shout.
And I mean, there's a reason why both might be top 12 selections. We end up here with a bunch of drafts on Saturday. Like, how early is too early to get one of those guys? Especially like Bowers. Tampa Bay is kind of on the same path as the Eagles and last year and the 49ers this year, where they're just donezo on defense. Especially if they create pressure, that's going to go to Bowers or it's going to go to Myers, and that's it.
Full-fledged funnel.
That doesn't answer your question, but to me, like, those 2 picks, either you feel extremely confident about it, or when kickoff comes around and then it's the third quarter and they only have 3 catches and you're like, I just ruined my draft because those guys are top 12 selections.
That's the thing that's so scary about him, because you're like, if those guys to their just receiving
Trey
volume.
McBride, 3 touchdown regression this week.
Oh, please, one time. Give us the Josh
You don't even have
Jacobs.
the Margs yet, Josh. Please.
Yeah. Because I'll put that in a slider. I will. But that's what's crazy about it is it can go from, I like playing tight end to if you don't have one of those guys, you can't win a top 5 spot in
Right.
the Dawg Bowl.
Now,
Yeah.
I do feel, Bauer's matchup is far easier than Seattle. Seattle has really turned it around. Their last 2 or 3 weeks, it's the same thing. Like we've talked about it before with Vic Fangio. Like his defense just takes weeks to absorb and play at a high level, and it hits its stride in the second half. The same exact things with Mike McDonald. When he first joined the Baltimore Ravens, they weren't the unit that they were last year. All these guys had to learn all these different roles, all these different responsibilities. And that's why also with Leonard Williams being like the best defensive player in the league over the last 2 weeks and everyone healthy. Like they were also getting run on a ton earlier this year. That was when Leonard Williams was injured. That's when Byron Murphy was injured. That's when they didn't have an inside linebacker. They're cut and traded their inside linebacker starting guys in like back-to-back weeks this season. And now they've gotten Ernest Jones all the way from LA to Tennessee and now in Seattle. So that defense to me has like really come around and really shaped up. And again, they just played the Cardinals, as you guys know, 2 weeks ago and kept them to 6 points.
Yeah, well, they kept him 6 points, but Trey McBride still facing bracket coverage over and over and over again, still got 15 targets.
Yeah.
So I'm not scared about the floor for Trey McBride at all, like even factoring that in, right?
Man, this is anecdotal, and maybe I'm misremembering this. But I think even in that game, he was wide open off play action in the end zone.
Yeah,
and
was that
just
the
didn't-
game?
And it was a corner route, and he was just right there, and Kyler didn't throw it. So if we go back and review,
Right.
Kyler just lobbed this up to Trey McBride, and maybe we can get our first receiving touchdown of the season.
Well, that
In the
stuff
history of
has to
football.
be in the play caller's heads,
Has
Kyler's
to.
head. Like how many times it's become a punching bag for like how is Trey?
So we
McBride
all
not
agree
scoring?
Trey McBride 2 receiving
Two
touchdowns.
receivers. I'll take one, Josh. I don't even want to be greedy.
Let's
I'll
get
just
the
take one.
sliders
Yeah.
going early here.
How about I wanted to ask you about one of the other big narratives down the stretch, the Mike Evans, right? Trying to get that
Mm.
Yeah.
11th straight year of 1,000+ receiving yards.
So how Baker Mayfield in this offense was called last year, it was a whole bunch of Mike Evans sideline vertical shots. And that's why he was more important than like Chris Godwin to this offense last year. I know obviously Chris Godwin's gone, but Baker this year has been so much more 0 to 10 yards. We saw it with Chris Godwin, then we saw it to Cade Otton in his absence, and then we've seen it to a bunch of the running backs. So I'm not sure if that same verticality is going to be mixed into this offense. But at the same time, there's a pretty big drop off just in talent of Mike Evans down to Sterling Shepard and Jalen McMillan.
Oh, good you done, boy.
Wow. The knee pat there speaks volumes.
But at least LaVisca's a LA Ram now, right?
Just fumbling every single kickoff for the Seahawks. Yeah, that LaVisca.
No, so at the Mike Evans can win just about anywhere, So I just think the offense is quite different. To me, last year he was their most important player, and this year now, if you ask me in Week 14, it's clearly Bucky Irving.
Yeah.
Wow. Hey,
Yeah.
Bucky Irving.
Okay.
There's
you.
a good
I get all
tap from the other side.
Luckily, didn't make any clips about Bucky Irving. Well, Josh, let the people know what other kind of content can they expect on the Underdog channel this weekend.
we're still trying to figure it out. I think tomorrow I'll put it. Okay, this is in writing, in pen. I think tomorrow after the drafts, maybe the 4 of us just go through each of the 9, and we'll upload that on the Underdog channel.
Beautiful.
And
Awesome.
just talk through some of our favorite picks, some things that stood out, and just so people can have all the draft boards tomorrow afternoon/evening.
Love
Does that work?
Perfect.
Absolutely.
Tune in for that. Josh, do you have
Y'all are the best. Thanks for being here.
we appreciate it. All right, we're going to bring our next guest up, one of our Dawg Bowl finalists, Chad Maschke. Step on to the stage here.
Ooh, Lee with a bunch of numbers.
Come on, 12-1-5-0-3.
Hey,
Put some
yeah.
respect on the numbers.
Whoa.
There you
Look
go.
at this.
Yes.
Here we go. So
Rain Man.
we got Chad. You are no stranger to the Dawg Bowl. You were here last year. We were in Miami. Now you're back. How much of being a returnee to the Dawg Bowl was driving your entries this year?
It was driving it. It helped that I qualified week 1, but
Yeah,
then that kept on driving it too. But it definitely that was my goal for this year coming in was to get back to it. Dawg Bowl is pretty much all I did too. Like BRs, I'd drop in 1, sometimes 5, just see the leaderboard. But I love the 12-person drafts. I was doing goal line stands early in the year too, when they were offering them, but I wanted to get back here. Miami was a blast. I wish I had let go of some of the stuff last year and just enjoyed it even more. So I'm glad to be back. So I have the chance to do that.
What do you mean the let go of stuff last year?
So Sunday, right? That's when we're all sweating.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was not good for me after the noon games at all. I knew where I was going to finish. I just couldn't. So I was with my wife last year, went for a walk and reset, and then was able to enjoy. And it was a lot of fun seeing John have Keurig winning last year, having a lot of fun.
Couldn't have been me.
No,
I
don't
had to
worry.
specify. Sorry.
Yeah.
No, but it was fun to just enjoy, and like Underdog puts on a great event here. So just being able to take it all in. And this year I'm going to draft my teams, move on, and whatever happens, happens. Sunday.
You're going to draft teams multiple, not just multiple. You have 9 teams to draft. How have you been thinking about how you're going to attack that this year?
I have gone back and forth. I'm a notoriously flat drafter. Like when I share my exposures in the NBA, I catch hell for it all the time. But that's just how I've always been, because I'm a little bit risk averse. I like to have a sweat depending. So you can take from that what you will from my strategy overall. But if I roll 1.01 over and over, I heard the conversation earlier. I still think it's Saquon over every time. So I'll take as much Saquon as I can get.
Yeah. So just in case people missed that, so Chad had 3 qualifying seats, which maxed out. They literally could not draft anymore in the Dawg Bowl qualifiers. When did you get your 3rd seat?
Week 9.
Week 9. So that means 9 total drafts. That's the most in the contest.
No, Pete, that means before week 9, he had done better than all 3 of us combined for the entirety of the season.
Yeah.
Is what it actually means.
Well, let the people know, how many teams were you putting in each week to be able to hit that?
I was putting in between 70 and 80. Week 1,
Nice.
I went a little crazy. That was with the Russ Wilson, Justin Fields fun that was going on. And I can't remember the exact percent, but I want to say between 30 and 40% fields. And I had 100 teams.
He just like me for real.
So,
He just like me.
Well, I like how you started this with like, I'm a little
awesome.
risk averse. I had 100 Justin Fields teams.
yes, that does not prove my point. But,
You were listening to the conversations earlier and stuff like that. How is correlation playing in your mind this year? Knowing the field size, knowing you have 9 entries, what are you thinking in terms of correlation?
Yeah, well, I know after week 1 when I came on, I had the naked Jaden Daniels team, and I'll run naked QB more than most people, I think, in the Dawg Bowl qualifiers. You're talking 108 person or entry field on this one. Correlation, it matters a heck of a lot more. So I'll be correlating much more than I usually do. And yeah, that's just strictly the field size on here. I know we always joke, or you guys joke about the 6-leg parlay, and having to get multiple pieces right. And that's why we correlate, is so that we don't have to. Smaller field, I have to get less things right. So
I know last year, because I even remember talking to you, you were keeping track of a lot of ADP and draft boards and stuff. What was your prep for just Dawg Bowl qualifiers, and what has been your prep like for this specific contest?
Yeah, very, very similar. Still tracking all of my boards, throwing ADP, checking the stacking percentages. So a lot of the stuff that I was doing with the BR back in the day, back last year.
It does feel like a lot.
3 lifetimes.
Honest to God, the evolution of these games, it does feel like that was like 3 years
100%.
ago. Like these games have evolved in such a rapid pace over the last year and a half.
Yeah. So, and I've been tracking all that stuff still individually off my entries. I get enough quantity to think that it's statistically relevant on there. So because that's always the key when you're doing just 5, 10, even 20, you don't have enough data to actually have a sense for how often is the field stacking? Where is this person actually going? When you get up into the 100 and so you're talking 1,200 teams in a 5,200 team field, that's more than enough to feel pretty confident.
Absolutely, yeah.
I'd like to ask you about the Saquon boogeyman question. If you don't land the 1-0-1, is that changing your draft strategy? You don't have to answer this if you don't want to. How are you thinking about not getting Saquon if you don't?
No, it doesn't change my strategy. Saquon is what he is, and whatever he puts up, that's fine. I know I've heard a little bit, hey, you might want Hurts because chances are one or the other is going to go off. I'm not going to let it affect if I'm going to push Hurts up or not.
Right.
I have my own thoughts on that already going in, and because nobody is going to get Saquon and Hurts. So then it's where do we want to actually land?
And if
on
they
it?
do, Neumy's throwing out that line.
Yes, they are. Without a doubt.
Can we get a Neumy in the Dawg Bowl for scrolling too far?
Draft. Yeah. Well, let the people know what do you do, if you don't mind me asking, for a living? It sounds like you got some kind of quantitative background with stuff.
So I'm a project manager for Comcast and do a lot of Comcast business stuff and getting those projects out. And then that's been what I've been doing for the last 17 years. All of the data stuff is self-taught. Trying to put together different sheets and learning goes back to when I was playing like 6th grade baseball and trying to keep our stats and then figuring out how to incorporate, hey, I've got these different sheets and everything. And my dad's with me and he's was the coach of the team. So we would use that and like show that like everyone on the team loved to know where we were sitting. And it was, I'm one of the old guys in the room here. And this was back in 96, 97. So like it's all been self-taught since then. And Google is your friend. So, yeah.
So you're telling me you were the OG Moneyball guys? You were using data before the Oakland A's? Wow.
Something like that. So.
There you go. Do you have any, obviously the Barkley stuff, but do you have any other draft slots that would be your preference, or that the RNG gods should listen to your prayers on?
I don't think I have any draft slots. I've been drafting 9 teams, like you said. I've got 4 or 5 different combos that I would like to walk out with.
Okay.
So
very cool.
So that's kind of what I'm doing. And then the rest will be whatever it falls to.
Yeah.
Granted, RNG could screw over my plans and I might not end up with all of those, but I've got them and kind of slotted ADP wise where I think they are going to fall.
Yeah. What's that saying? Everybody has a plan until they roll the 112 5 times.
Yeah.
Everyone has a plan until Barkley runs for 200 yards and 4 touchdowns and they don't have him on their
Punches
team.
you right in the face. Yep.
I got to ask about your prep because you've been out of the streets, the Dawg Bowl streets for a little bit here because you qualified so early. Have we been doing a bunch of goal line stands this week to get back in the flow of things?
I've got about 20 goal line stands in.
Nice.
So I was in there early part of the week. Since Wednesday, I have not been in there, and that's more happenstance than anything. I feel like I have a pretty decent feel for the slate, kind of what I want to do. And it is so different. And it's not even that I'm trying to hide anything that I'm thinking on there. Yeah. I got some Charbonnet 6th round, like on your stream, but that's because I want to win the goal line stand too. That's got a nice prize this week.
So. What kind of advantage do you think you have being able to see every single draft board? Because you're the only person that has that unique angle. Do you think you're going to try to leverage that somehow?
Yeah. Well, draft also.
Draft. Sorry.
Yep. I was thinking a lot about that, and I don't know if it will be the same as last year, but if it's like last year where we were sequestered, there is definitely an advantage in knowing what combos exist out there and what combos don't. And that's the other thing I've been doing is building a sheet that will track that for me. So if I want to look something up, I've got it.
There you go.
Beautiful.
Look at that.
Yep.
A proprietary sheet for a 108-person contest.
Yes.
I mean,
One time.
that's nothing new for Chad. He's been creating proprietary sheets for the Deposit Kingdom for 2 years. So
That's right. So it sounds like you were going to have overall a little bit more zen approach to the sweat on Sunday. That's the goal.
I'm going to try and pull my best Nez, pop the AirPods in, and just zone out. So
That helped a lot. I mean, it didn't help with the results, but I was having a blast.
you did better than me.
It really just putting yourself in the mindset of what's comfortable and what is familiar. Because I mean, we're all draftaholics here. We all draft all the time. Putting yourself in that most comfortable position that you can mentally, I think, is really key to having a good draft.
all right. Okay, Chad, what's the vibes then? You're putting the headphones in. What are we listening to?
That's a great question. I haven't got that far.
Right.
I have not listened to a ton of music lately. I mean, good. I'll have to let you know.
Right?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's podcasts. It is.
It gets big Underdog Daily with the Badge Bros. That puts you right where you want to be.
Word.
I definitely will not be doing that. So I've got to find something.
No, well, I think it's how it's like on the Super Bowl, you get so many prop bets down, so many things that you don't even know what you're rooting for. That's what it's going to be like for you. You're going to have so many teams going on, and you're a diversified bro anyways. You're going to be just like, give me the drinks. This might be good
Rob
for me.
Lowe with the NFL hat on.
Yeah.
Just cheering for
Every
us.
single play is good for me. Well, Chad, we are excited to sweat it out with you on Sunday. Excited to see how you attack all of these drafts, man.
I appreciate it.
Good
All
luck,
right.
Chad.
Yeah, good luck.
Good to talk with you.
All right, we're gonna try to get our next guest over
Here, I'll go flag him down.
Yeah, if we got
We going Dave next?
it doesn't matter whoever's around.
Who's next?
So yeah, we're
There we
gonna
go.
interview 2 more Dawg Bowl participants, and then don't worry if you're here just for the pick'ems. Not only do we have pick'ems, Nez, we pre-planned some of these pick'ems.
We actually did some serious homework here. I hope we can get. I've been teasing this sizzle reel for like a month now. Very excited for the sizzle reel. Very excited
Not yet.
for the pre-planned pick'ems. I mean, this is what we've been waiting for.
We the pick'ems normally when we do often on the clock. If you guys are watching for the first time, we generally do the show 2:30 p.m. Eastern on Fridays. We fly by the seat of our pants. We figure it out. All right, we got
Let's
Mathology
go.
here.
Let's go.
The legend.
What's up, guys?
What's
What is
what's the estimated VAC right now?
We're good.
Yeah, this is just like drafting level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're getting close. We're
All right.
dialed in.
For the people, we call them Mathology. What do you want us to call us that, or do you want to dox your real name here?
My name is Matthew Orsolak. I am 42 years old.
Where do you hail from?
I hail from South Hero, Vermont.
Yeah, and for people who don't know Mathology, you were wonderfully juxtaposed to some of these other drafters who are, scraping draft boards, keeping track of all this data. You have to tell the story of your Dawg Bowl seat, because when I heard this, I was truly just completely overjoyed to hear this story.
So I was traveling for work. I'm in construction, and I was heading to Chicago, and I was trying to lay out my whole draft strategy plus, salary cap on DraftKings.
Well,
And-
redacted.
Redacted.
Strike it from the record. Thank you.
And before I left the office, I drafted a quick Dawg Bowl, and I just wanted to do a fields double, and I ended up getting Jordan Mason and Nico on that team. And then I left for work, had a good time, went out drinking with a bunch of coworkers and marketing.
This is you were in Chicago
In
on
Chicago.
a work trip when you drafted this team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, not that team. I drafted before I left.
Okay.
And I thought it was like a one-off. Ended up finding out through Hope and everything that was the team that won. And I should have stopped then.
Yeah.
But I kept drafting like when I was intoxicated in the hotel room. And,
Some of their best work.
Were they all Fields teams?
Yeah.
So you were just on Justin Fields that week.
that was it. That
Who
was
were
my
they
goal.
playing?
That was a Colts week, right?
Yeah, Indy.
Mm.
Yeah, Indy. That was it. I was gonna play it till either if it hit, I wanted to be there, and if it didn't, then I wouldn't be here.
And you got in and got out. It was like you hit, like we talk about investing, you hit the Pico top for Justin Fields,
Yeah.
and then the Steelers like, no, we're on
Yeah.
to Russell Wilson. You're like, I already punched my Dawg Bowl ticket. I don't care.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
ETC to 100K. Mathology to 100K.
So how are you feeling about the contest itself? Are you feeling, just like no pressure? Have you been doing some practice drafts? What's your
Oh yeah, I've been just drafting just to get an idea of where people are. It's a 10-game slate, so it's a small.
right?
It gets dry fast. So we're gonna try to lube it up tomorrow.
Yep.
I'm gonna bring our lube. I got Tyler with me.
Oh, there you go.
We're
You're all set.
We're bringing the energy. But hopefully I can build a shipper. That's my goal, is to put something out there that the fantasy gods will appreciate
Yeah.
and build the slate the way that Mathology wants.
I'm gonna ask the question
Okay.
that everyone. So for people who don't know Mathology,
And it's a shame if you don't.
yeah, I don't know how to say this. He's a very horny individual. One of the ways that I've seen you interact with the fantasy landscape is based on, who a player is dating or married to. You've been known to do some investigative deep dives into Instagram pages. I just have to ask, has this strategic, angle spilled over into your Dawg Bowl strategy this week?
A little bit.
Oh,
A little bit.
Can you share some of the alpha?
I actually can't.
Okay.
We have to save that for tomorrow.
Find out.
But there's a special sim in the Pillow Talk above expectations that will be released tomorrow. And I hope it's a surprise for everybody.
Okay.
I love it.
Awesome. Yeah. So go ahead.
Well, I'm gonna say this is good stuff. This is good material. This is blue collar guy talk. This is all whatever. But you're underselling yourself right now because you are the number one person on the BBM leaderboards right now. As of right now, you have the best team in Best Ball Mania, 680 some odd thousand players. So it's a good shtick. It's good stuff, but you're not pulling the wool over my eyes, bro. Not at all, man.
How do you tell your wife this? You're like, hey, Dawg Bowl ticket, best team in Best Ball Mania. You say, babe, you're looking at the best fantasy player on planet Earth right now.
She just found out this week
About which one? This trip?
about this trip.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
You didn't tell me?
Well, she kind of knew I won 10 grand and everything, but she didn't know like the fact that I have the best roster and I'm going to this thing and going to be on social media. She just made a Twitter account last night.
Oh my god!
Missology on Twitter. If you want.
I can't believe that wasn't taken.
If you're watching, I apologize. He's not that horny. He's a monogamous man. He talks about you all the time in the Discord, and he's never looked at another woman's Instagram page.
I got a 6-year-old.
It works.
Yeah.
So do you, again, you don't have to reveal your strategy here, but do you have a stack similar to the Justin Fields thing where it's like, I want this stack tomorrow?
I'm going to say, do you have a strategy?
I mean, it's a fair question.
There's a couple games I'm looking at to try to attack.
Keep it close to the vest. I like that.
Yeah.
We'll see. I mean, it all depends on draft spot. You know, I've been messing around on the goal line stands, and we'll see how it all shakes out.
Any gamesmanship lined up for you? I mean, you're a crafty individual. Anything that you trying to get real friendly with some of these drafters?
Oh, I already. I'm in with the ETR guys. We're gonna shoot guns tomorrow morning. I got the numbers. We're gonna go out and get some pistols out and go to the firing range. Try to get some in. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
There you go.
Because we're gonna click it on the phone tomorrow.
Is
We're
this
gonna walk
pure
around,
camaraderie, or are you trying to kind of pump them for information?
pump them from here.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
So, but I take it your Missology now knows everything that's going on.
Yeah, she's like, you better win. Some pressure's on, but we'll see.
That's right.
But I'm gonna have some fun with it, and we'll see what happens.
We know that. We know that's right.
The who do you think? Name a player you think is going to be in the winning Dawg Bowl lineup this week.
Keenan Allen.
That's
nice.
That's some spice.
I like
There
that.
we go.
Love that call.
I like that. Care to expand on it, or is this more of a drop the mic moment?
Oh, I think that I kind of like that late hammer with San Fran,
Look at
the
that.
Bears.
Gotta have the late hammer.
Well, with the late hammer, are you thinking of maybe just going out, getting some brunch, coming back, not even watching the 1 p.m. games, coming back for the late slate? What's going to be the strategy for sweating for you?
I haven't even thought about it, to be honest with you.
Because you're a family man. I see you out on the lake on Sundays. You seem to live a very well-balanced life. Are you going to be dialed in watching Red Zone for 7 straight hours of commercial-free football, or how are you going to approach a Sunday sweat?
I don't know. I think Tyler and myself, we're going to just go out and find some trouble and then show up.
Someone's gonna find you.
Yeah. Local Dallas law enforcement. I will get you their contact information to keep these guys on your radar here. Any competition you're particularly scared of or not scared of this weekend?
Just the snipers. Let's stay in our lane, boys.
I like it. Ooh, is that a threat?
No.
Wow.
Let's do it.
Sniper stock going to the gun range tomorrow. I don't know how much I like all this imagery here.
Yeah.
Well, Mathology, we're all very excited to see what you cook up here. Do you think you might lean into the symmetry of winning once with Justin Fields and once with Russell Wilson? Could that be part of the drafting menu?
All depends on how it, where the draft position is and where Pickens is I'm going to stack him up if he's there, but
Okay.
we'll see what
We might
happens.
start calling you Mike Tomlin if you can win with both those quarterbacks, buddy.
That would be nice. That'd be nice.
All right. Anyone else you want to give a shout out to? I feel like you always got some in your back pocket here.
Well, just the community and Spags and the Square Squad.
Speaking
Speaking
squad, it's gonna shout
Speaking of the Square Squad, where's Red? Is Redmond staying in this house?
Redmond?
Yeah.
Who's
Nick, Nick
Rodman?
Redmond.
Who's Redmond and Rodman?
Oh, the guy with little legs.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's here.
Yeah, we're the Deposit Kingdom needs to leave the deposit in his bathroom.
There you heard it. Pathology's calling out Nick Rodman.
Redmond.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. There you have it. If you get stuffed into a locker later this weekend, it's not my fault.
I got support behind me.
All right. All right, Mythology. We'll be rooting for you. Good luck this weekend, man.
Thanks for coming
Thanks,
on, man.
All right. We got Dave.
Dave's gone.
Dave left.
Are you serious?
He came for an interview and left. All right. Crutches, hop on in.
Bring in the reliever.
There you go. This
There you
is
go.
this is the swap.
Nick
This
Papelbon.
is what we call swap equity
Yeah.
right here. We took
Yeah,
the Q
yeah,
tag.
yeah, this is the
take
101
Q tag,
swap.
Took the Q tag. We swap in crutches.
So I'm the Braylon Allen this week, huh?
Yeah.
Exactly. So again, back-to-back qualifier Crutches. You were in Miami last year. You're looking for redemption, right? The finish wasn't as what you wanted last year.
Yeah, I think I'm had 5K, so I basically min cashed one and then got the min bump on the second one. So yeah, hoping for a little bit better this year. Maybe one entry is the key, not two. All these greedy guys are 3 entries.
Right?
Are you excited to have 3 bullets at it though, relative to last year with just the one draft?
Yeah, I mean, I told people I think it's a little bittersweet because it's like I probably would have, used my. I'd rather have the bullet with 2 entries, right? 6 drafts this year versus last. But I think it's good either way. Like it gives the guys with 1 bullet a lot better chance. I think, especially if you're doing some portfolio management stuff. So I think that's cool. Almost like a 3-1-1s, then we can just fire Saquon, right?
Yeah.
Just,
You would do that? You would lean in?
no, I would probably diversify.
You would?
Yeah.
3-1-1s?
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, not that I'm going to get him, but I'd probably go like 1 Camara, 2 Saquons. I'd probably,
Okay.
yeah. Nothing
Yeah.
crazy.
I mean, I respect the honesty, man, because you ask a lot of people, and they're like, "Yeah, I'd probably go all Saquon," but you hold your feet to the fire, and it'd be hard not to get a little bit diversified, I would think.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. People think Saquon's a sure thing, and it's like obviously a smash spot, but like, I mean, Kamara could get 100% of his team's touches. Like, you just don't know. So, and he's obviously, what is he playing the Giants this week? So, not super.
I think and maybe this is a bad take, but I feel like if I could choose, if I was in your spot and I had 3 spots, I'd honestly want a 101, a middle, and a late. Because I think the hard thing about having 3 slots, even if you get Barkley, it's like you are to then diversify in the second, third round.
Right.
You're really having to then make some big sacrifices because there could be tier gaps there. And it's like, okay, am I reaching now because I don't want the same player paired with Barkley over and over?
Yeah, I think like pretty clearly you want a top 2 pick with like 1. I want 1 draft where I can get access to Kamara or Saquon, I think.
Yeah.
And then the other 2, like, to be honest, this year I've done like way less prep. Like Monday I looked at the board. I like to write down my own notes before any projections come out. And then projections come out. I take a look at them, kind of figure out my process. I did 1 goal line stand this week. I haven't done a single other draft really. And I just kind of know the guys I like. And ultimately, I think everyone's not going to give away who they want in goal line stands anyway. So there's no point in me scouting. And I think also like people are going to play way closer to the vest as far as like sticking close to projection in the Dawg Bowl versus regular goal line stands. So I figured I'll stick to the guys I want, and I know who I want, and for the most part. So, yeah.
I can't imagine that anyone is going into goal line stand practice being like, this is the stack I want. I'm going to try to draft it 50 times in the goal line stand. All right, I know what Crutches is doing this weekend.
Yeah.
See, I just had the sick idea when you were talking about the 101s there and like the Kamara versus like Barkley thing to build the exact same team twice, but with just Kamara and Barkley in each of them.
That would be
Just swap
that-
it.
that would be
dude,
ideal.
that's
That's
how
not
I-
ideal, but that would be fun.
That'd be so fun.
Yeah, that's
Um,
an embarrassment of riches.
I want to turn the page a little bit. We talked about you being here last year and that sort of thing. I want to obviously people know you as a big grinder on the site, grind all the sports, that sort of thing. Well, mainly basketball and football, but a good player on the site. But what about Dawg Bowl is special? What is different about Dawg Bowl comparative to some of the other contests? What made you want to come back?
The check behind us. No.
Is that in frame there?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, in a sense, you want redemption. Having been here last year, it's a fun event to go to. Obviously, that's probably like
a good chunk of the equity, to be honest. And it was been to a live final, especially the underdog ones. They're a super good time. And yeah, I mean, ultimately, I think other people have probably said it, but you want to battle against the best players, and you know, I'm pretty happy with my like top 1% rate this year. I only got one seed. I can't complain about it, but I think like I'm pretty happy with the 12 mans, and I do think the 12 mans have more like skill expression in them. There's more tier breaks. There's more, opportunity cost at positions, and so I think it's a funner format, and you know, it's obviously a ton of variance. So obviously, you know, we tell people fire responsibly each week. Like,
Sure.
you do 10 to 15 if you want, or whatever it is, but I think it's like, kind of the truest version of an NFL game on Underdog, to be honest. So yeah.
Let the people know, because there's this, you know, people know there's the qualifier, but I think the part that they don't realize is there's this element. The Dawg Bowls will generally open Monday mornings, Monday late morning, early afternoon. A lot of you guys are piling in there. Projections aren't out. Talk a little bit, like for me, like I'm still like stuck in the previous week, you know, like turning over the page to the next week, the way that some of you Dawg Bowl fiends do it, like blows my mind. Talk about like the mindset you have to get yourself in to start drafting on a Monday for the next slate.
Yeah, I mean, basically, I'm on my sales pipeline call, my day job at 9 a.m. And then once that's done, I pull up your stream, and it's basically watching your stream from last week and starting to have my takes for the next week, just doing Dawg Bowls. So, no, I mean, it's fun. I think, you know, I don't do my own full projection system, but I think it's if you do enough reps, you can figure out. A lot of people talk about like trying to beat ETR to the market. A lot of times I'm taking guys who I like as well. Like I know ETR is going to project, you know, certain players well, you know, like Deebo Samuel every week. So, you know, if you have a take, you can skip him or not, you know, so I do tend to concentrate. So, you know, a lot of weeks where I was doing 150, I would try to get like 50 in, which is tough just based on rooms filling slower, but I try to get 50 in before ETR. And that way, like those are usually very concentrated, where I'll have like 40% Tony Pollard a week or something like that. And then by the end of the week, I'll be down to like 25%. So once that comes out, I'm just kind of like getting different combos. But yeah, I think it's fun. And ultimately, you're not just like copy and pasting ranks. So it's a little more of a fun exercise.
But like, I don't think people are recognizing the absurdity that getting 50 drafts in early in the week, right? Like, what is the even liquidity like? How are you even sitting around? Like, are those filling? How fast are they filling? Like, what kind of time commitment do you have to make to that?
I mean, a lot, but like, it's not like I'm full time in front of the screen. I mean, you were probably in some of the early drafts. Like, it's like I can do my day job work and just have a tab open, and it's like 1 out of 12 for an hour, you know, or whatever. So, you know, usually they'll always be like 3 out of 12 because there's a bunch of sickos like waiting for a room. But
it is very funny, right?
Yeah.
It's like this, you know who's in there.
Yeah. It's not A-Win or Cognition. They wait till Friday, Saturday. But like it's you know, it's the regs. But yeah, it usually needs like 7, 8, 9 spots, and then you just wait. And, you know, I'm doing some day job stuff, and because it's a 12-man lobby, you're not on the clock that often, so you can kind of, you know. And once it fills, you can pull up another tab and open a new one, but it's probably not going to fill until the first one's done. So you're kind of doing one at a time, but it's just in the background. So it's a lot of time, but it's not like it's a singular focus thing.
I think that was like a lot of words to articulate what all of us actually feel, is that we just simply love drafting. Like, this experience is so much different than playing on other platforms and whatnot, where it's like I'm itching to draft next week as early as Monday because I just simply enjoy it, right? Like, yeah, I'm looking for edge. I'm looking to get my takes in. I'm looking to beat people to the punch. But, like, I also just want to start drafting again because it's very enjoyable.
Yeah, and you didn't quite say this, I mean, but, like, I think you and the people that do grind Underdog feel like you are some of the best people on the platform. And this is, and like you mentioned skill expression, this is such an awesome way to kind of put that to the test. Like, you feel like you have an advantage if you get here. Like, you think you have an act, like you wouldn't fire if you didn't think you had a shot at 200K. So I think that's also part of it too, is the confidence in, like, you know, the reps and being able to put that to the test for 200K. At least, you know, speaking personally, because I also, you know, fired a lot, didn't get a seat, but, you know, wanted to that the part of proving yourself and also feeling like, hey, I actually have an edge here. Like, I can turn this skill, these reps, into 200K. I think is also, you know, a big part of that.
Yeah.
So what's going to be your sweat experience last year? We're talking to to Chad about little tweaks he's making. Like, what changes will you have from last year?
I don't know about the sweating part. I mean, I feel like I've done it before, so it's a little less like nerves as far as like the process goes. And yeah, I think the biggest thing I literally told him last year, I don't know if you guys remember after the drafts when we were like looking at everyone's teams, and I had the sick ADP value team where it was Mahomes fell to like late second round. And like, I think Kittle's ADP was like 19. I got him at like 28. And I was just like, this is a sick team. But none of the guys were guys that I wanted that week. And like that came into the week. It's not hindsight. I wanted Justin Fields and I wanted Lamar that week. Those were the two guys I wanted at the 2-3 turn. They were going like late second. And instead I pivoted and was like, ADP value, I got to take it. This is such a sick team. And it wasn't. Like there's a reason. Like, and that's, I think this week, like I told Chad, it's like, yeah, I'm going to use projections. I'm not going to give up a ton of projectable points if I don't have to, but like I'm going to go with the guys who I'm like, am I fine losing with this guy, right?
Yeah.
And
you're going to be
last year,
to root for on
last year, like with Kittle or with Kittle did well, but Mahomes was like, I remember that week I didn't love the matchup or whatever it was. I don't remember a year ago, but it was, I wanted Fields and I wanted Lamar, and it was like I could have had them instead of him and probably cash a decent chunk, maybe not win, but so it's like ADP value is cool, but it's ultimately a number and it's a 1 week sample. So it's not like I'm getting 150 reps in ADP value like you talk about first 2 rounds of a 6-man. It is unique if you can get 2 fallers and then getting to go off the board. But here it's like you have one shot at it, get the guys you want ultimately.
Yeah, sounds like Dawg Bowl is get your guys season, boys.
Yeah. Who do you? We were asking these guys. Who do you think is going to be in the winning lineup, winning Dawg Bowl lineup?
Oh man, how off the board are I? Because then I give away my scrolls, right?
Okay.
Well, I mean,
what if Dink is finally right and Rome Odunze
Now we
hits?
have double bears. Double bears.
Let's
We got
go.
Mahomes, you said Keenan. Now we got Rome.
Yeah.
All right, we're
Wow.
triangulating.
I don't know. I will
Certainly
say
not a
I
bear
think there's some
market,
good
boys.
late wide receivers this week that have upside at least. So.
I like it.
I like that.
Yeah,
nice
for sure.
shot.
You're gonna need that.
Well, Krutches, we will we'll be rooting and sweating along with you. Thank you for hopping on here and enjoy
See
the
you guys.
weekend, man.
See you, buddy.
Yeah, appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, good to see you, dude.
All right, there it is. Thank you to all of our Dawg Bowl finalists, Krutches, Chad, and Mathology. But you know what we have to do here on Off and On the Clock. The way we wrap things up, we got to spice it up with some spicy
it
picks.
is about time.
I'm
It
just
is
waiting for him
about
to trip and
time.
fall.
Here we go.
Look who it is.
There we go.
What do we got? We got Neumy here with
Shoot. I thought it was Kyle Pitts.
One with jalapenos and 2 with none. The middle will have them.
Oh, there we
Okay.
go.
Okay.
That's the awful placement right there, and then that's for you.
Oh, dude, thank you so much, Neumy.
There we
Beautiful.
go, Neumy.
And Luke, do we have our little intro here? I mean, this is
Oh yeah, tell the people what's up now with this new intro.
yeah. Well, Luke's gonna roll it here. We're very excited about it. Let's get a cheers here, fellas, as we get to spice it up, slop it up. It's time to make some pick'ems, fellas.
Cool.
That's delicious. Thank
There's
you.
no way that was Neumy.
Oh, here we go. We're good. All right. There it is. It's time, guys. We got the spicy margs. We do this show remotely. We talk about the spicy margs. We're generally doing this segment about, 3:30 p.m. Eastern time. Yeah. Not quite the time to really get the spicy margs actually flowing. So let's get a little cheers. This feels good to be able to do this IRL here.
Let's go.
Yep.
Cheers, boys.
Let's get the pick'em sliders sliding right now.
And we've been in the lab
Yes.
this afternoon. We're gonna have a few to cook up for you, but I say we start with our core. This is what we generally do. This is a high conviction play. We each generally give one of our favorite plays. We put them in an entry here. 3 picks generally give you that 6x. And let's start with Nez here. Kick us off with your favorite pick in our core.
Yeah, so we were in the lab and I was ecstatic. I could not stop talking about this. They were like, Nez, chill out. It's really not that big of a deal. We can use fantasy points in our pick'ems. Normally when we do the show, those fantasy point pick'ems are not out yet. So I was ecstatic that we could have fantasy points as an option. So I didn't hesitate to choose my 2023 Dawg Bowl favorite pick on the board. James Cook, higher, 12.45 fantasy points. We didn't talk about this game a lot, which I thought was very interesting. It's the highest total on the slate.
Yeah.
48 points in LA, in a dome. I really do think that James Cook, no matter what the game script is, I can talk myself in him scoring higher than 12 fantasy points. Really love the spot against LA, who I think is very vulnerable on defense. I was very happy to put this in our core.
I like that, man. I mean, he looked like he was shot out of a cannon last week. So, I mean, maybe a little bit of snow in there, but I think he can find his footing on the turf there.
And James Cook was Bucky Irving before Bucky Irving was Bucky Irving.
Wow.
And the fantasy points is really nice with those type of backs, right? Because they literally have 3 outs: rushing efficiency, catching passes, or touchdowns. And with those guys, it's like, yeah, you could play rushing yards, you could play receiving, but it's like, let me capture the whole pie here. So I love the 12.45 there. That's a sexy one. It's a fun one. Highest total game. Do the dirty work, John. You just give us this gross pick. I mean,
I don't want to say it. I don't want to say it. I mean, I taste a little bit of the spice, and now I'm like rethinking my whole existence.
John, they already made the graphics.
The graphics
we
are
already
already out.
submitted our pick'ems. You have to say it.
Yeah.
All right.
Have some confidence.
This guy, he's back playing a full allotment of snaps. I was on him 2 weeks ago. He put up those 40 receiving yards, whatever. He should have had 2 touchdowns last week. He had a one-handed grab. I know the spot is not amazing, but someone in a trailing game script has to get peppered with targets from Bryce Young, and that is the old dusty corpse of Adam Thielen right now. We are going higher on the 4.5 receptions for Adam Thielen.
If he makes a one-handed touchdown catch like he did last week, can that count as like 5 receptions?
That's worth 9 receptions on Underdog.
Yeah.
Little known fact.
I do, like, as much as I would like to give you a hard time for this dusty pick, it does just seem, I mean, they're going to have to chuck this entire second half. We don't need efficiency. We don't need big plays.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Josh was talking about a team with the least yards after a catch in the league. We just need him to catch 5 balls. That seems doable.
Yeah, I don't need him to go anywhere with those balls. I just need him to fall straight down with them.
All right, I can't even throw stones from glass houses with my pick because I get to enter the slot fest zone as well. I'm going with the quarterback passing yards here. We're going with Will Levis, higher than 212. Hold your
Is
laughter.
that mayo in your margs or what?
I wish.
That's a good one, John.
I will. It's, you know, he's easily cleared this number in 3 straight games. They've been chucking it, and it's like, okay, yeah, boom bust type guy. But now they get the best matchup in all of football for passing games. The Jags give up the biggest fantasy boost to opposing quarterbacks. So I like this number a lot. Obviously, there's always risk with these kind of divisional games and Will Levis. But, man, 212 seems like such a low number for a team that's ready to chuck here.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I like that game in general. We talked about it earlier.
So I dropped this in the chat here. We'll make sure to put it in the comments. We'll drop it in the Discord as well, in the Badge Bros channel and the Deposit Kingdom Discord here for the core. The second thing we generally like to do is target a specific game environment. And all of us are very excited about this Bucs Raiders spot.
It feels so gross to be this giddy about it, but we're like all like, yeah. Big smiling ear to ear. AOC, give us more AOC. It pains me as a Minshew bro, but I'm about it.
I know. I wish this game was in Vegas, but it is in Tampa. But the weather's supposed to be nice for the weather bros out there. If you're worried about that and you want to play along with us, have no fear. It's a sunny day in Tampa. And we put together a pretty nice pick'em here for 16X that
nice.
I think works out pretty well.
Yeah, why don't we each kind of had a few picks that we specifically liked, and it came together here. John, do you want to talk about Rachaad White?
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm dialing in a little bit on the Bucky banged up narrative, maybe not like a full allotment there, but, you know, they're still mixing both the backs. They don't really have a second wide receiver right now. It's kind of this split role between Cade Otton and Rachaad White, kind of as like a pass catching role. So I'm buying into that one. Pass catching narrative. Maybe we can paint trailing game script as well.
Neumy acts like everyone knows who Neumy is. You could just walk by.
God love him.
It was doing an army crawl behind the couch. Come over here, Neumy. Get on the couch. Come here.
There we go.
We want you to stop
skirting
around.
We want you to be here.
Just trying to get the guys the marks. It's my job. It's my job now.
Cheers. We appreciate
there we go,
it,
buddy.
I didn't mean for you to drink my beverage. Not too much though. Neumy, any thoughts on the Dawg Bowl weekend here from a man inside the building?
No Josh Dobbs. That's a plus. That's a plus.
It's a reference to last year's Dawg Bowl.
Correct. No, it's you know me. It's Justin Jefferson or bust. So that seems like the move if you want to do it.
If you had the 101, are you taking Jefferson or Barkley?
Barkley, 100.
Okay.
Oh yeah, okay.
102, are you taking Kamara or Jefferson?
Jefferson.
All right. I like it.
Yeah, we're taking JJ.
Okay, and he is capable of scoring more than 14.6 fantasy points?
Is the user that he's on Nez or no? If he's on Nez's team, no. If he's not,
Unfortunate for you, buddy, I got a lot of Justin Jefferson this week.
so
So
I'm sorry, everyone. He is gonna drop a dud. It's just the way it is.
Anything else you want to let the people know about Dawg Bowl weekend? What you guys are cooking up?
No, it's gonna be awesome. As you can see, we're in a just a great space. We're inside from last year, so that's a plus. We're not gonna.
we are. Yeah, we got a little rain last year.
Yeah, I forgot we got rained on during the show.
We're not ending the stream as
Yeah.
rain is coming down on all the equipment, so that's a plus.
Do you
But
want
no.
to tell the people how you almost got lost in the airport?
I hate airports. I think that's just standard. I don't know many people that like airports, but I had to go and find my buddy John, and 4 trains later and 3 bars later, it seemed like all of a sudden there's a Canadian just waving.
Left field is so much more your speed.
Yeah.
DFW would definitely give you a headache. It's okay though.
Yeah, no, that was awful. Minneapolis is pretty clear cut, and I can just get in, out, I know what to do. But yeah,
You said the flight attendant did give you the little lapel with wings.
This is my son's first flight.
Oh, that's great.
oh my gosh,
on the real,
I
Neumy,
miss you guys so much.
While you're here, I do want to take a second to give you your flowers, man. You and Hope, who's behind us here. You guys work really, really hard to give us these awesome games and to make them, competitive and keeping the integrity safe on them and giving us just like so much fun and enjoyment out of here. And honestly, it would be wrong to say that you guys aren't a big part of why, these games are as big as they are. So I just need to give you your flowers, man, because you guys are killing it.
Yeah, there we go.
Everyone on the draft team.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I can attest to that in a big way. This guy gets right off the flight, and he's worried about a Wemby Q tag. Running to the bar, opens up his laptop, starts oh my God. Like he's just working.
Just hyperventilating like typical
Working.
Neumy. Yeah.
Working all the time. So, I mean, we love these games. We enjoy these games so much, but they don't happen without everyone here, but you and Hope in particular.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And like I said, any of the flowers that comes to me needs to 100% go to Hope. I couldn't be doing it without her. She couldn't be doing it. It's a tag team effort, and especially everyone else that's helped us. And yeah, so I appreciate
You guys are the goats, man.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Thank you,
Cheers
guys.
to Neumy, Hope.
Everyone have a great time. Thank you.
Love you, brother.
By the way, bro.
All right. Hard pivot from
Yeah.
Neumy and Hope to Mike Evans scoring a touchdown at plus money.
Spice it up.
1.16. They're doing it. This has been, I feel like there's been a few themes over the years with our pick'ems.
Yep.
Trey McBride touchdowns, Mike Evans. If they're gonna give us plus money on Mike Evans scoring a touchdown, we're taking it.
I love how you just conveniently left out our number 1 played pick'em of all time, Kyle Pitts, Spicy Margs touchdowns there.
I mean, I think Josh earlier on the stream said he doesn't exist anymore, so I was trying to not talk about him.
All right.
So that's 2 of 5 there. Then we get to the Raiders portion of this pick'em.
Yes.
Aiden O'Connell, higher 15.55 fantasy points. I love this. I think that they are going to be in a position to be throwing a lot in this game. Not only are they going to be trailing most likely, but the running back one is, I'm checking the notes here, Sincere McCormick. Yeah, I think that's a position where they're going to be.
Sincerely, son, we are going to throw the football today.
Enjoy your 8 carries, bud. No, this definitely scripts to me as an AOC chuck it game, and they trust AOC. AOC consistently outperforms his projections. No matter where you find them, he is going to outperform them. The spot is good. The game script makes sense. And we went fantasy points on here because this actually gave us the highest multiplier. Yeah. I like AOC pick'ems higher, however way you want to play them. We went fantasy points here. I love it.
The thing that's awesome about this offense is we know exactly where the ball is going to go, right?
Exactly.
They don't have much of a running game right now. Trey Tucker, will pop up for a catch or two, but that's it. I mean, this offense funnels through Jacoby Myers and Brock Bowers. Jacoby Myers has a 29% target share in games since Devontae Adams left the team.
Seems good.
Brock Bowers is pacing for the most absurd rookie year we've ever seen from a tight end. So we got Jacoby Myers higher than 11.95 fantasy points. Allows us to also take advantage of his insane red zone role. And then Brock Bowers, we're going with the yards on Bowers higher than 74.5.
Love it. I'm in it.
All right, dropped this link in the chat here. We'll make sure to post them in the Discord in the comments after the fact. These were two we pre-planned, but we wanted to leave a little improv, a little, get the actual spicy marks flowing, get the sliders flowing. I think we got to get, like jazz here and let the music and the marks get the hands flowing.
No, I like where you're at, Pete, and I kind of want to like deviate from playing the hits a little bit too here.
Okay.
Like I'm thinking through what took place this evening while we were all talking with everyone. What were the good vibes when we got then I taste these spicy margs, and all I can think about is Keenan Allen now.
Wow.
Mathology.
Yeah.
Mathology has got me on this Keenan Allen train. Then Krutches comes on, talks a little more Bears pass catchers, wouldn't specify. Maybe he's martingaling the ETM bros or whatever with that other player. But I'm looking at these Keenan Allen, little bit of spicy margs in my life here. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Well, there's a number of ways to play this, John. The one touchdown, 1.67x.
Pretty nice.
I mean, I call that mild plus.
Mild plus. All right.
3 touchdowns in the past 2 games for Keenan.
I mean, that sounds good to me.
Mm-hmm.
You could slide up the receptions or slide up the receiving yards. How would you like to play the Keenan spice?
Okay, what are we dealing with I'm not staring at it. So what are we dealing with receptions and yardage right now?
Yardage is at 50.5.
Uh-huh.
You slide it to a very nice 69.5. They get you a 1.58. So like comparing it to a touchdown, 1.67, it's basically what do you like better, 69.5 yards or a touchdown?
Ooh, I think we got to go full vibes on that one and go 69.5, boys.
Let's do it.
That one feels good.
I like that.
Yeah.
Do we want I don't mind correlating this with Caleb. Do we want to get a little slide on Caleb here? Everyone is hype on this spot.
Would you slide Caleb yardage or would you slide touchdowns? Because
we could slide touchdowns here. I mean, 2 touchdowns is 1.29 for Caleb.
That feels kind of nice.
2 touchdowns, 1.29. So that's not even a slide. That's his base.
Yeah, the base. Yeah.
I like that. I think he can throw for 2 touchdowns. We just talked about how it's gonna have to be through the air if they do anything.
Right.
And I like 2 touchdowns for Caleb through the air.
Okay.
So there would be 2 ways that I would want to stick this landing.
We're all gonna say the same damn
No,
thing.
there's
Come
2.
on, say it.
It's either a Debo touchdown or sliding Jawan receptions.
Let's look at Debo touchdown. Let's look. We can window shop.
I have Nez in a blender because Nez loves both Debo and Jawan.
I'm a
Guys,
sicko.
we're living it up. Dawg Bowl weekend. Nez's second highest owned BBM player. He's a scroll the F down this week. He might get some carries. Guess what doesn't factor into receptions and receiving yards? Carries.
Scoring a damn touchdown.
He could score a damn touchdown, boys.
But let me just reframe this for you. What do you like better, Debo scoring a touchdown or Jawan Jennings getting 6 catches? Because one of those sides is 1.4 and the other is 1.3, and it's probably not the side you think.
Wow. Is it weird that I like him getting the catches more if Trent Williams doesn't play because George Kittle stays in line to block more?
Damn, dude, you know ball.
Do I know ball or do I know ball?
It seems like you think you know ball, but I don't know if you know ball.
My results this season would suggest otherwise.
Let's do the Jawan Jennings catches.
Okay,
All right, there we go.
I capitulate. How many are we doing there? So I'm following along at home.
Yeah, so if we do I think you do Jawan over 5.5. So 6, very attainable for him.
Higher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Caleb 1.5 higher touchdown. Keenan higher 69.5. That's a clean 14.48x.
I've already submitted it.
Okay. All right.
It's in the
I'll get it from
bag.
the chat.
All right. I'm
Let's
gonna
put it in the chat.
drop this one here in the chat as well.
Thanks.
Can we do one involving a Will Levis slide and a Calvin Ridley touchdown or
We
something?
can do
along
that
those
for you,
lines?
buddy.
I'm here for it.
How do you want to slide Will Levis? You want to do the passing yards, or I think that's like the most logical thing, right? We're not doing Will Levis 3 touchdowns.
I'm one sip of a margarita away from sliding Will Levis until Underdog doesn't let us slide it anymore.
I respect
Well, let's
it.
sip this Marg and see how far we can go.
Yeah, I do.
Can you guys send me that link in the Discord?
Yeah,
please?
I just dropped
Thank
it in ours, and let me. I'll drop it in the chat here as
Perfect.
well.
Thank you for that.
Let us know in the chat here. I'm checking in if you guys have any spots you guys like in the Underdog Pick'em lobby. We always like the suggestions here.
I mean, people forget last year what happened on the first play of the Dawg Bowl.
What was it?
You have an insane memory.
I do forget.
Kyle Pitts. You don't remember Kyle Pitts
We're
scoring a touchdown?
we're not putting Kyle Pitts in one of these, Sean. Just let it go.
All right, Will Levis here. 250. Can we
Yes.
settle on 250?
Let's-
1.77x for Will
Yes.
Levis.
250 passing yards, 1.75x.
77x, but yeah.
1.77.
Wow.
But who's
Ray
counting?
Bork, 7'7". Good Canadian kid.
All right, easy with the hockey references, bud. Save that for your solo streams.
We just dropped 20 viewers. Okay, now Calvin Ridley here, just a touchdown on Calvin Ridley, 1.37x. That gets us, and we're going to have to obviously add one more. That gets us to 7.27x. Receiving yards, that's going to be, if we do an equivalent spice on receiving yards, we're looking at
89.
You would have to go up. I mean, it's tough. I honestly think that we are better off doing
With
the
the
touchdown for Calvin Ridley.
I agree.
Okay.
It's tough to make that worth it.
I like that correlation there. Do you pick something from the same game environment on the other side?
We don't have.
You don't have to.
I've done some Parker Washington, but I don't think we need to force it here. I think we can go. We can
I've been
go
talking
somewhere
about
else.
Brian Thomas a little bit.
I do think it would be very on brand for us to do a Trey McBride touchdown as part of this.
Dude, we can't end this night without Trey McBride touchdown.
Even the market is catching up though. 1.38x. I'm old enough to remember when it was like 1.67 on McBride.
Can I mean, not that we haven't done enough to, do some fan favor for myself. Can we do a slide on Najee Harris scrimmage yards?
Wow.
Can we please? Can
Okay.
we please? Jaleel
Yes.
McLaughlin,
Yeah.
5'0", 100 nothing,
Yeah.
ran all over the Cleveland Browns. They're
Shout out
at
to
home
us for
in
winning that
Pittsburgh. Renegades playing. Division rivals. Najee Harris is touching the ball 20 plus times, and we can slide his scrimmage yards to 100. I mean, we don't have to go to 100, but I'm just saying we can.
I'm just saying it's available.
I mean, as
to
a matter
us.
of fact, that is like the next available slide if we do scrimmage yards. What do
99
you
and a
guys
half?
think?
Yeah.
Najee,
Am I asking too much?
No.
I mean,
Can I actually propose something crazy?
yeah, of course.
Can I propose running this twice?
Yes.
Once with a Najee slide and once with a Trey McBride reception slide?
Okay.
Yeah,
yeah,
let's
yeah.
go.
I didn't mean to take us away from our
No.
our tried and true.
All right.
What's McBride's slide for the receptions?
It's really good. So he's coming off back-to-back 12 receptions. His
Yeah.
base reception is 6 right here.
Okay. Sure. I don't know, Underdog. How'd you play for this place?
So he's or 6.5. So even if you could do 10 receptions for Trey McBride at 3.18.
I like that.
Let's do it. All right.
Okay, so we're
Let's
gonna run
it
this twice.
Yeah.
So the Levis 249.5, Calvin Ridley Tutty, Najee 99.5 scrimmage yards. That's a 22x. So we're gonna lock that in. I will drop this in the chat in a second, but first I have to reuse the players. We're gonna drop Najee. This is how you see the sausage get made.
Love it.
Trey McBride, we're not going to mess with the touchdown. The 1.38 doesn't do it for us.
No.
We're sliding to 9.5, 10 receptions. That gets us to a 46x.
That puts the spice in the Marg, Pete.
I feel very spicy.
Love it, boys.
There it is. Guys, this has been fun. Like we said, we're going to have a bunch of other shows this weekend. You guys can keep tuned in to the Underdog channel, to the Bad Bros channel, my channel. We'll have some more shows. We'll keep you posted with some updates on Twitter and the Discord, what we're planning. But anything else I'm forgetting here, guys?
Absolutely not, Pete.
No, I just want to say thanks to Underdog. Thanks to the production team. Thanks to everybody that's made this such an awesome time, that makes this such an awesome time that people want to get back to and that we get to take part in. This is so awesome. And yeah, guys, this is going to be a fun weekend.
Yeah, fun weekend on tap. We'll see you guys around for Off and On the Clock. John, Nez, Pete, thanks to all our guests. We'll see you guys soon.
Boom.